Hello, góðan daginn and welcome to the Project Pile. My name is Gunnhildur, I'm in Iceland, I live in Iceland, and this is my podcast, vlog, chat type of thing, where I talk mainly about yarn, about knitting, about crocheting, called the Project Pile because I have projects and they are in piles, and I think I absolutely nailed that. Ho, go me! I also talk quite a bit about the weather because the weather is interesting and the sun disappeared again. Dang it! Yeah, because the weather influences everything, and I am your stereotypical middle-aged Icelander woman, European, and I will always find something interesting to talk about when it comes to the weather. So we've had fog the past week, and I'm a little like, I love the fog. I really enjoy it when the weather isn't too warm. But listen, when it's in the single digits, it's like I would like to get a little warmer, please, and thank you. I've already had 2 weeks of my summer vacation, starting on my third, and I still have not been blessed with summer weather. But at the same time, I feel bad about nagging about it, because I know how the weather is like in like the southern part of Europe and in America. Like, hearing about just this horrendous situation, and here I am bitching because I don't get sun. But I mean, I don't control the weather. I do know that. So I shouldn't feel bad about, wishing for a little bit more warmth. But at the same time, it's like... Anywho, when it comes to stressing over, so the knitting hasn't been going too fantastically. I'm literally in the same... The only difference that's happened since last time is that I almost finished adding another round, and I will need to frog this, because somewhere along, like, this is supposed to be a dress, and this is my second cast on with this dress. I mean, I love the yarn, it's so soft, it's nice, it's gonna be such a nice dress to throw on if ever I do get some, like, maybe I get nice weather when I finish the dress, who knows. But the problem is that the pattern, like, it's a simple, it's like, the pattern is not complicated, but for some reason I keep messing up the numbers. So I tried, like, working on this last night, that's always on Thursdays, and didn't matter how often I counted, I'm like, there's supposed to be like 5, I think I'm reading it right, could be wrong, but there's supposed to be an X amount of stitches in between the patterns. And I know I counted it right the first time. I was very meticulous about doing that, but I must have done something wrong, because in between each segment it's supposed to be 5. Sometimes it was 5, most often it was 3, sometimes 4, and on one occasion 2. And I'm like, how? So most likely it's because I took a week in between on working on this dress, and at least when it comes to me, this is clearly a project that I cannot take a break from. It needs to be worked on continuously, and because I haven't done that, that's probably why I'm making these mistakes. But at least it's better to start off making the mistakes rather than when you have like a full body on and you realize at that point that you need to frog it. I mean, at least I'm making this realization now. So unfortunately, I need to frog it again. It's Sunday, I still haven't. I'm like, dang it. But that therefore needs to be a stay-at-home project. Meaning, on Thursday night, I'm like, well, I need something to work on. I'm here, I'm ready to go, but I did not bring like anything else to work on. But I always have a crochet hook with me. I always have this old blue one. It's a 3mm one. It's a Inoxol? I don't know. I just always have it. It's really nice to have a crochet hook when you're doing your knit. Oh, sun. Almost sun. It's really nice when you are doing knitting, if in case that you drop a stitch, because you can fish that little bugger up again. And I haven't perfected that method, but I do feel better having a crochet hook in my project bag. But because I always have at least one crochet hook with me, that means that if I run into a problem like this, that means I can always grab the hook. However, I needed some yarn. So I of course started off with grabbing my smartphone, going on to Drops Garn Studio, because that is my go-to these days. Because the coffee shop where we have the knit night, she sells Drops yarn. So obviously I'm just gonna go onto the official Drops website where they have free patterns that I do tend to quite like. Find something that they are using like 3mm crochet hook and see if there's something I can't work on. So lucky me, I found a very simple project. It's this headband. I literally did just finish the head. Like, it's, listen, you cannot go more simpler than this. I mean, yeah, I cut a long thread. I'm sorry, I know some of you might have a bit of hard time seeing that. I know at least like maybe 3 or 4 women I know personally in my life who would be having a bit of a issue with that, but I cut a long thread because I'm gonna be using it to sew up the sides, so that's why the long thread. But basically you make this like headband, which is very easy, very simple, and then I just need to make this like another little piece that I will tie in a little bow in front of the seam, and it will be really cute. So this is, I mean, look at the color as well. The original pattern used a way pinker color, but like I've got this and other pink projects that I will be. Oh, the pants! I have so many projects to work on. Why am I? Anyway, but I also never have. I don't think I've used this. It's Drops Baby Merino, 100% wool, superwash. It's extra fine merino wool. Here is the color and dialogue. I think the color in the pattern was like 46 or 49. It's a very pretty like pink color. But like this is yarn group A. We got 3mm needles or hooks, US 2.5 or C or 2. So it's a touch more on the finer side. I generally I very much prefer using a 5mm one, but that's because that's what I grew up with. It's 50 grams or 1.8 ounces, 175 meters or 191 yards, and it's 100% wool. And it's very nice. Of course, I'm comparing it with Icelandic wool, and Icelandic wool has that like that typical wool touch. Like, it's warm, it's nice, but I would recommend wearing a layer underneath. Like, it will keep you warm, but it will be like a little stingy. This, I mean, you can feel that it's full, but it doesn't have that stingy. It doesn't have that like, I'm so eloquent. But yeah, I've got this much left of the skein, right? I already done a headband. I only need to make a rather small piece to finish it. I feel like I could make another one. I could definitely make another one. So there's that. I might, I don't know, probably just keep it in my go-to bag. So because I need to find something to work on next project night. So maybe one of these sweaters that I keep going on about that I want to be making. But I could also bring this. So this is the Drops Kit Silk that I got a little while back because of these two skeins that had been lonely for months and were waiting for me, and they're so soft. So what I decided to do, I think these are what, 8mm needles, right? This is, okay, Lord, what are you? Yeah, Yarn Group 8. A. They're recommending like 3.5mm or US 4 or E4, right? So that's a bit of a size difference. I'm trying to remember. It's probably on the Drops website. I need to figure that one out. So is extremely simple. So I might actually bring this with me next time, both to show that I am actually using the yarn that I buy, but also because it's brainless. You do not need to think when you're making this, and that really suits me better, because apparently I cannot make even the simplest thinking while on it. Like, there's just too much chatting going on. So I'm probably gonna bring this because this is gonna become a shawl. Surprise, surprise, it's gonna become a really big shawl. So I'm wondering if I should, I mean, at the end of the day, this is gonna take me a while, but like, this is one skein. I do have another somewhere. So these are 210 meters or 230 yards. 300 yards. Yeah, so 210 meters or 230 yards. That's quite a lot of yarn. And also with this big of these big sized nails, this is gonna be big and airy, and it's gonna be so nice to scrunch up. So yeah, you know, this mohair silk combination. So I think that would be really nice. Ooh. And maybe just me, but I feel like these kind of go together. So I mean, at the end of the day, all colors go together. Just depends on your level of do I care what other people think. But yeah, that is the story of where I'm at. I got another project. I still haven't finished the lovely Drops Air sweater. Like, I still have not frogged where my shirt ends are. I'm still like, whenever I need to do something like pulling back, I'm like, ugh. I need to figure out what's the best way to convince myself to do it, because I know, like, I'm learning how to like trick myself into doing the things that I don't really want to do. The thing is that I need to like distract myself. Like when I have a skein of yarn that is just a mess and full of knots and just me, I first off need to be not annoyed, because then it becomes really tempting to just bring out the scissors. I need to be absolutely thinking about something completely different. I need to be listening or watching something that completely absorbs my attention. Because the amount of things that you can do when you don't notice that you're doing them, astronomical. But yeah, I think that's about it from me this weekend. Like, house hunting is slow. It's a small town that I live in, and it these type of things just take time. So that gives me more time to save up a little bit more, and that's always a plus. Um, the volcanoes are reasonably quiet. There hasn't been like anything extreme about them. The active volcano that is in Little Hrotur, by that you can see from the capital Reykjavik. There are actually, I heard it, I think in news just now. They are thinking that it might, you know, not be for much longer. It might be coming close to the end, which is nice because it's been very gassy. It's been horrendous. Also, so for the most part, because the police has okay, now I'm getting fired up. The police has had to have an active watch on the area, and that to me is extremely weird. Because usually, you know, when there's an active volcano, people are like, right, let's just keep a respectful, non-life-threatening distance from this active earth fires. But no. The police has had to have a constant watch on the area because people just go right up to the active volcano that does not care about human lives. If you get in the way, you're... So there haven't been any arrests. And honestly, I think that's mainly because the police are trying to be considerate. They're trying to show consideration and empathy to the fact that people are excited about this active natural event. However, I would very much prefer if people would show the same empathy towards our police officers and our volunteer rescue people who are there. They aren't getting paid for it. They do it. Whenever people show disrespect to volunteers, because the Icelandic Search and Rescue, it is... Those are volunteers. These are people who train, who leave their family, their lives, their jobs to volunteer to keep other people safe when it comes to nature, when it comes to accidents, when it comes to search and rescue. So whenever people are disrespectful to these people who are giving their time and lives, essentially, I get really pissed off. Being disrespectful because you are so excited about seeing this pisses me off. But yeah, the police has actually had to put a curfew on a volcano because people have been disrespectful. They have been the main character, as the young kids say these days. I mean, main character syndrome. The first time I heard a kid talking about it, I was like, what in the world are you talking about? And then I stopped for like 2 seconds, thought about it. I'm like, that's actually a really good descriptor, because I think we all know some people who act like they are the only people who met her, and unfortunately there's a lot of people who act like that. It's very depressing. But on a happier note, we have new neighbors downstairs, and they have actually lived in this this building before, in the same stairway. And when they got the news that they were getting the apartment, a new apartment, and the young lady came to me and said, was really excited about being neighbors again. I'm like, oh! So that's really nice. So, because the family before, I mean, there were kids, but the kids were like rather quiet. But now there's, I think he's a toddler by now, and when he is not happy, you can hear it. It's like so cute. So yeah, I know that there have been people who, you know, don't like having kids around, and I mean, I can get it in a certain way, but on the other hand, like, if there are kids around, then you just need to show them some consideration. We have all been children. Children should not be quiet. If a child is quiet, I get concerned. I mean, if they're not just sitting quietly and reading a book. If they're just, yeah. Anyway, I think you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, overall, fairly happy. The weather might be nicer. I love the fog, but that's a little too much. The volcano might be coming to an end. Knitting, crocheting, ups and downs, ups and downs. And I've been having a lot of rest. It's been nice. I'm sleeping a little bit too much. So yeah, I think that's enough for me this weekend. I will hopefully see you again next weekend. I really need to see about getting a haircut. I've got a lot of split ends. Anywho, all things considered, life is good, life is kind, life is good. So, really hope that life is as good to you as it is to me. I hope it is. Can I and But yeah, I will hopefully see you again next week, and I'm gonna stop blubbering mouth. Blah 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 blah. And yeah, okay, talk to you later. Take care. Bless, bless.